Hello and welcome back. Today we want to help educate you on the use of technology in the job search. And it's really easy to fall into the trap of the next new shiny thing is going to make everything different and better for me. And in some cases it can help. But today we really want to help set the record straight on what the technology is capable of and how it might help you.
Yes. And we also want to give you the perspective of the employer because they're testing out technology in real time too as you're in this job seeking process. And so what we thought we would do is break today down into two parts. First part, we're going to talk about the what and the why of technology use when it comes to the employer. What are they using and why they're using it? And then from the perspective of the job seeker, what is available to you and why you should be using it or why you shouldn't be using it. So let's dive in.
Well, a 2024 poll by Forbes, which is, I think, a really good source of information, found that 84% of employers were excited about AI and thought it would help them. And if you think from an employer perspective, the real challenge is how do I take 5,000 applicants and whittle it down into a manageable number of interviews? So I think they're feeling pretty positive about it.
Right. But are companies using it also for things like job description?
Oh, they're using it in lots of different ways. They're using it to help. They use AI to help write job descriptions. They use it for running job boards. I mean, that's a pretty common use. And those
the algorithm.
Those are becoming a little bit more sophisticated with the use of AI. They're using it to screen candidates. I mean, you as a candidate, you could very easily be evaluated by an online assessment, a test that you take, or interviewed by a bot, or just interviewed by writing answers to questions that are then evaluated by a bot. You could be recorded. And then the bot evaluates the quality of that interview. And then that determines whether you advance or not. So that's definitely a place that they're using it for sure.
Talk a little bit about the data sharing that's going on for employers.
So I think probably where data is most valuable to them, aside from the data that they glean from individual candidate interviews and whatnot, is compensation and benefits. So it used to be, if you had a friend who worked in a similar industry, you might share some notes, but you don't want to share too much because you want to always have the competitive edge. But now there are aggregate sites and data sharing sites where you can find out what is not just the base salary for this job, but what is the competitive profit sharing, or if it's equity, what are the benefits package looks like? What is the contribution for 401k? At what point should my employees be vesting? So you'll find that that data really drives the offer that you get, which is why you'll often find offers nowadays are a little bit more similar than they used to be.
But at the end of the day, right, only a human being can hire you.
That's right. I mean, only a human being can really evaluate you. And when it's such a human experience working with someone. I mean, I would never, and I've been working in the job world for a long time, I would never rely on any technology, no matter how sophisticated, to make that final selection of who I'm going to be sitting across the Zoom screen with, or, at the water cooler with.
So just have that tucked in the back of your mind that ultimately you're going to be hired by a human in the very end. All right. So now let's shift to the job seeking perspective, right? So for the job seeker, what digital tools are they using and why? Why is that important?
Well, I mean, so some are using them. Some of these are so new that our listeners and viewers might not even know about them. But really, most commonly, I would say with resumes is where probably most people are comfortable. So immediately when ChatGPT came out, everybody was using that to write their resumes. You know that I can tell a ChatGPT written resume from a human written resume within, I don't know, seconds usually. So you have to remember that the data that ChatGPT or any AI tool uses to write a resume is just whatever's out there in the blogosphere. So, I mean, most resumes are not written well. So you're gathering best case scenarios from not well written resumes to write your resume.
Well, and the whole point of writing a resume, right, is that you want to stand out. And so if you're getting sort of these cliched terms that have been out there for years and years and years, that's not going to make you stand out amongst the pile. But for some of our students, and we've talked about this because we really been immersed in this. Sometimes it's just providing the structure. So a ChatGPT can maybe provide the structure.
So it might write a profile statement for you or explain your job, and then you can go in and add the color.
And make it human, right?
And make it accurate too. But you're right, kind of having it laid out because I always say it's easier to edit than it is to
Yes.
write organically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what about on the LinkedIn platform? What's happening there in terms of there's a lot happening?
Yeah,
there.
I mean, they're adding
It's
a
a
lot.
moving target. We're
I
always
know.
trying to follow.
I know. Well, first of all, if you don't have a LinkedIn, I mean, that is really an AI tool. You absolutely have to have one. About
Mhm.
1 billion people now are using it
Right.
worldwide. And you have 10 times the likelihood of getting a job by networking either in person or on LinkedIn, which is really the most efficient way to do it, than you do if you just apply on a job board. So there's like no reason to be just applying on job
Mhm.
boards. But LinkedIn also offers other tools. Like
Right.
now there's a tool where you can get an interview question.
Yeah.
And using your LinkedIn page, hitting a button, record your answer,
Mhm.
and their AI will evaluate your interview. There are other sources that do that as well.
That's great for practice.
It's really great, really great for practice. Another thing we didn't mention, just for the creativity, you can go to sites like Etsy. We had someone today on one of our calls. Canva to create things that are more visual. So whether it be your resume, if you want to get a banner for your LinkedIn that's a little more custom, you can use sites like that to easily create a graphic. So yeah, LinkedIn is a really great use of AI for sure.
So what about all of the employers' sites, right?
Like the evaluation sites?
Like the Glassdoor, the pay scale, salary.com.
Yeah. Those are great. I mean, they're getting better. It's kind of like they're only as good as the data that they get. But as we saw when we were talking about the employer side, we're getting much more accurate and much more data on compensation. So this really helps a job seeker because now when they show up, they can speak knowledgeably. They can also know if they're being lowballed.
Yes.
Because they're walking in with more information. This also has just changed that dynamic a lot because employers know that you're not in the dark when you're walking in the door. You've already looked at these sites, like Kelly said, Glassdoor, payscale.com, salary.com, and you're coming in knowing what the job should pay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there you have it. A little bit of knowledge for you about the what is being used for technology and the job seeking process and the why it's being used.
Yeah.
If you like what you heard today, you can visit us at our website too at www.preparetolaunchu.com. Thanks.